Oh, hello guys. Welcome to Nitro's Corner. And check out this merch I just got. I mean, it's a little hairy because my dog, you know, you've seen her now. So you understand what my daily struggle is with the long hair. But guys, my first Attack on Titan merch. Look at that, the Scout logo, the coolest logo of all anime, some may say. I mean, it's pretty badass and I'm happy, but what I really want to show you is this next piece, because once I saw it, I instantly had to buy it. So check this out. Read it and weep, guys. Check this out. Look at that. Is that not just the sickest artwork you've ever seen? My man Junji Ito really pulled through with this. I mean, this was right up my alley. I'm a big, huge fan of like dark horror fantasies, and like I've never really ventured into the horror manga too much other than like Berserk. Honestly, that's probably it as far as straight up just kind of dark fantasy horror goes. I mean, unless you consider like Hellsing Ultimate or something like that, like horror, but I think that's more like kind of like action, dark action. But guys, as soon as I saw this, like, look at that. I mean, one more time, look at that. I had to, I went straight out and I just bought like Uzumaki, like the 3-in-1 big hardcover book, and I think I got Gyu also, so should have a pretty cool manga haul video coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, today what I would like to talk to you guys about is how to enter into the anime fandom, because I feel like a lot of people, you know, they think they have to start with like a Naruto or something like that. Well, today I decided to curate your entrance into manga and anime. Doing it with my buddy who, JP, you guys haven't met him, but you'll see him soon in a new video coming out, but he's never seen any anime before, so I'm taking him with like a new perspective. And we're gonna go venture down the path of weebdom and see if we can't turn him into at least partially a weeb. So without further ado, let's get into the list. All right, so the first one I want to talk about, number one on the first to watch list, is going to be Cowboy Bebop. And this is for a couple of reasons. I mean, A, Cowboy Bebop is already like a classic. It's just an amazing piece of animation. And an old man once told me, if you don't like Cowboy Bebop, your opinion doesn't matter. No, but we won't get into that right now. But for my main reason, I think Cowboy Bebop is like, in a sense, it doesn't really carry those stereotypical like anime like perceptions that people in like America have. Like my friend, when I talked to him about like what he thought anime was before, you know, a lot of people think just like Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, stuff like that. But like Cowboy Bebop is definitely like suited to target a Western audience, you know? So I feel like this would be a solid first anime to watch. Another cool thing about like watching this as one of your first animes is like each episode is kind of unique in its style, where it really exposes you to like all these different aspects of animation and different aspects that like manga generally touches upon. Another reason is the phenomenal soundtrack to this anime. We're watching it right now. We're about on 24, I think, 23 episode maybe. And he'll play the soundtrack at work because it's just that great. Like, that's, I mean, you can't beat it, really. And not to mention, it has some of the coolest characters of all time. I mean, Spike and my favorite, Edward, like, they're some of the coolest characters. But also, the side characters are so well done. I mean, each episode is kind of like its own story up until the finale, at least. But like these side characters, they come in and they make such an impact where it's really just phenomenal storytelling, in my opinion. So that's why I decided to do that for the first anime. So let's get on to number two. Number two kind of goes along with Cowboy Bebop. It's Samurai Champloo. You know, it kind of has a lot of the same themes, a lot of the same vibes, where like the music is so well done and like the soundtrack kind of is like a real big part of the animation. I mean, the fights and everything are just so choreographed to the soundtrack. It's like, it really adds an aspect to the anime, which I think is like a good entrance into the anime world because often the soundtracks are one of the key features of any various series, really. Samurai Champloo gets a little more actiony too, which is nice, I think, because Cowboy Bebop has some sweet action scenes, but Samurai Champloo, I think, is more centered around action. I mean, the storytelling is still phenomenal, the characters are still phenomenal, but the action is so fluid and just, it's perfect, badass. It has a blend of everything, and it's, you know, more in like the Edo era of Japan where it's swords, shields, and, or not really shields because they don't really use shields, but like bows, swords, spears, stuff like that. Whereas Cowboy Bebop is obviously futuristic. But I think Samurai Champloo is kind of a good segue from Cowboy Bebop. It also adopts more of like the adventure style, which is a big theme in the anime community. I mean, this one's cool because they're constantly traveling. They're never in like one place for too long. They're always like the whole series is them trying to get to that end point and meeting this samurai that smells like flowers. But they do it in a way where like it still is very appealing to a Western audience. It still lacks that kind of anime, you know, stereotype. It's more suitable to any audience really, which is I think a good entrance anime still. So let's get on to number 3. You guys may be able to guess this. It's one of the most popular animes in America. Yes, it's Death Note. And I chose this because I think it's a perfect segue into more of an anime style series where, you know, this series is all about strategy and mental prowess, and it's all about tactically planning things out and executing all these things to make everything fall according to plan. And I think this is also a big theme in anime. Once you get into other series, like another one we'll talk about later, also things like, you know, Hunter x Hunter, my favorite of all time, like their battles, you know, a lot of it happens in their head with them planning out what they're gonna do and, you know, just being crazy smart people. I think Death Note does a great job of making that appeal to any audience. It isn't action-y in a sense, which, you know, a lot of animes rely on action to fill space and fill void. Death Note doesn't have action. It's all like mental action, which I think is really cool, and that's some of my favorite anime. With Death Note, we're also segueing into a longer anime, whereas the other two were single seasons, about 26, 24 episodes, I believe, around there. Well, Death Note, I think, if I remember correctly, is around 50. I think it's 2 seasons long. So you're starting to branch out into longer running animes, which most, as you probably know, are, you know, 100 episodes. There is some greats that are a single season, like Cowboy Bebop, Champloo, all these things, you know, so far. But there's also a lot that are long running because they're so good. So this is a nice segue into that. I know I'm saying segue a lot, but segue. Let's get into number 4. Number 4, guys. Number 4 is going to be Code Geass. And let me tell you why. Because I think Code Geass is so beautifully done at blending like all anime and manga styles together. I mean, you have mecha, you have slice of life, you have action, you have strategy, you have suspense. It's literally just a concoction, a melting pot of everything. And that's why I think this is a great 4th, because now that you've experienced these other great series, this one allows you to now venture deeper into your own personal likes. Like, you see all these different genres and you're like, oh wow, I kind of like that. I kind of like this high school slice of life stuff. Let's go dive deeper into that and see if we like that. Oh wow, this mecha is great. Let's watch Gundam, Iron Blood Orphans. I mean, let's check that out. You know, I like the strategy and the planning and the tacticality of everything. Let's go watch Hunter x Hunter. So I think this is a great series as like a step, like a gateway series, if you will. You know, it allows you to open the door and start venturing down and making your own decisions. And that's where I get to number 5, which is reach out to me, guys, and I will help you personally decide what your next anime is. Because I think at this point, you've now seen enough to really make your own choices and your, like, what you prefer as the style. You know, there's so many great anime out there that I would hate to steer you in a direction based off my own personal likes. So I think after Code Geass, you really you'll have an understanding of what is available and what you prefer, so you can go down and binge watch until 3 a.m. on your own. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. So I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see an anime noob, my friend JP, he's going to be, we're almost done Cowboy Bebop, so we're going to be doing a couple videos, and we'll probably go through this whole curated list because I kind of made it for him. So we'll probably make a video for each series, and we'll see his like weebdom develop as we go through series and series. So if you think that's something interesting to you, then come check it out, guys. And like I said, feel free to reach out to me and I'll help you decide on what animes you can watch. I'm by no means like a huge expert or anything. I've seen my fair share, but there's also a lot I haven't seen. So we could also just talk about it, and you let me know what you like. You can recommend to me and I'll recommend to you. But until then, guys, love you.